Hello, everyone, and welcome to our City Council meeting. Today is January 20th, Tuesday. It is 2:05 p.m. I call this meeting to order. Okay, we will move on to our agenda item number 2. Oh, and let the record reflect that we do have quorum. We will move on to agenda item number 2, our invocation and pledge of allegiance. We have Pastor Bob Ingram from ACTS Church that will lead us in our invocation. Do you mind leading us in the pledge? Sure. Welcome, Pastor.
Thank you. Amen. If we could bow our head, close our eyes. Jesus, we know you know how to bless this city. God, we know that you know what to do. So God, we're asking you right now, Lord, that you would touch each of our hearts and our minds, Lord God, to make the best decisions for this city, to protect this city, to watch over this city, Lord. And Lord, we know that you care about us, Lord God, and you care about what happens in this city. God, we give you all the glory, the praise, and the credit. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Hallelujah. Thank you, Pastor.
Thank you, Pastor.
Can you please place the flag and put your right hand over your heart and recite the pledge with me? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor.
Great. And then we move on to our public comments. I don't have anything before me in reference to public comments, anyone wishing to speak on any of our agenda items. We move on to our presentations, and we have 4.1 presentation. Presentation of plaque to honor retired Sergeant Maritza Perez with the Alice Police Department. And 4.2 is presentation of life-saving awards.
Mayor, members of the council, our city manager, our city attorney, thank you for having me here today. My name is Eden Garcia. I'm your chief of police for the city of Alice. Every day, I guess it's our dream one day to retire and to retire healthy and to go on to a bigger and better life for us. And so Sergeant Perez committed herself to law enforcement for 23 years, and she did it admirably, and she was a hell of a supervisor and a hell of an individual. And so it's hard to see good people leave, but sometimes it's good for them. But for us, it's always hard to lose a really good officer. And so today, and with your permission, we'd like to honor Sergeant Perez for her commitment and her dedication to our city. Without her, we wouldn't be where we're at. And we've had so much success. And I've always said I attribute the success to the people that we have, the boots on the ground. And if it wasn't for her, she is part of the solution. She has always been part of making our city a safer place to live for all of us. So Sergeant Perez, come up here just a second. She's over.
There she is. She was behind everyone.
But she'll still remain as a reserve with us. She'll be
All
reserved.
right.
So, in behalf of the Alice Police Department and the men and women that wear the uniform that represent our department, and in behalf of our city council, in behalf of our mayor, and in behalf of our city manager, here's this plaque. And this plaque, it may not mean much, but it's everything that I have to give you. And so I want to say thank you for everything you've done. I've had the pleasure of working with you for 5 years. And in those 5 years, I've seen you grow. And it is always my pleasure, and it has been my honor to serve as your chief of police. And it says, Sergeant Maritza Perez, in recognition of your 23 years of dedicated service, unwavering leadership, and commitment to excellence, your contributions have left an indelible mark on this department. Enjoy your well-deserved retirement. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you all so much. Thank you.
Nice to have uniform. We already just inserted.
Okay, that's a little warmer.
We already just did.
I know, I was thinking the same thing. Oh, here comes Mr. Beltran. Hello. Okay. Did you open up the next one? I opened up.
So these next are life-saving awards, and we would honorably like to present them to officers within the Alice Police Department. And I wrote a synopsis to each and every one of their efforts and what transpired and why they're receiving this life-saving award. And it's presented to Sergeant Orlando Hasso and Officer David Gutierrez. Can you please come up? Stand right here. On February the 17th, 2024, 1924, sorry guys. Sergeant Orlando Hasso and Officer David Gutierrez responded to a high-risk call involving a distraught individual positioned on the edge of a bridge. Upon arrival, Sergeant Hasso made initial contact and observed a male subject in significant emotional distress. The subject explicitly threatened to end his life, warned the officer to stay back, and appeared prepared to jump. The action, recognizing the immediate threat to life and the failure of verbal negotiations, Sergeant Hasso and Officer Gutierrez displayed exceptional tactical communication and teamwork. Under intense pressure, the two officers formulated a rapid intervention plan with precise timing and total disregard for their own safety. They approached the subject from the rear. In a synchronized effort, Sergeant Hasso and Officer Gutierrez successfully physically restrained the individual, pulling him away from the ledge and preventing a fatal fall. Due to their decisive actions and execution to perfection, the individual was safely secured and subsequently transported to a medical facility in San Antonio for necessary psychiatric care and evaluation. The bravery, professionalism, and selfless service demonstrated by Sergeant Hasso and Officer Gutierrez on this day are in keeping with the highest traditions of law enforcement. Their actions directly resulted in a life being saved. Congratulations, gentlemen. Another picture?
Yeah, absolutely. Gentlemen, thank you for all your service. God bless you. Thank you, brother. God bless you. Oh, squeeze up there, man.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Yeah, one more. One more. Officer Rogelio Rodriguez. On July the 3rd, 2025, Officer Rogelio Rodriguez and rookie partner Cristian Martinez responded to a high-priority call at a residence in Alice regarding an armed individual. Upon arrival, officers observed blood on the door handle and heard screams coming from inside the home. Recognizing an immediate threat to life, Officer Rodriguez made entry into the residence. Immediately upon entering, the officers were confronted by a male subject armed with a knife. Despite the subject's aggressive approach, Officer Rodriguez demonstrated extraordinary poise and tactical discipline. In a fraction of a second, he evaluated the threat and transitioned from his firearm to his taser, choosing a non-lethal path to resolve the crisis. As the individual turned the weapon on himself in an attempt to commit suicide, Officer Rodriguez deployed his taser with precision. The deployment was successful, neutralizing the threat and allowing the officer to disarm the subject and take him into custody without further injury to the subject or the officers. The subject was safely transported to a local hospital for medical and psychiatric evaluation. The quick thinking, technical proficiency, and life-first mentality displayed by Officer Rodriguez, supported by Officer Martinez, prevented a fatal outcome and ensured the subject received the help he needed. Officer Rodriguez's action exemplifies the highest standard of law enforcement excellence. His ability to maintain composure and utilize non-lethal force in a life-or-death encounter is a testament to his training and his dedication to the sanctity of human life. Congratulations. No, that's it. That's it.
That is awesome. Thank you to our police department, police officers. Moving on to our next agenda item, under presentations is 4.3. Hear a presentation from Rich Gibbons with E3 and discussions.
And Mayor, before we get started, Mayor, Council, so we made contact with E3 to try to see some of the things that we don't see, even though we deal daily with all of our facilities, everything that we do, but it's sometimes it's a little bit hard to get a different view because we're doing this daily. And so E3 is going to make a presentation on some of the things they found as far as our water plant, wastewater plant, different facilities, things that we could look at, maybe plan for in the future for repairs and regular maintenance and things of that sort.
Welcome.
Thank you. I'm Richard Gibbons. This is Boo Podolowski. He's the engineer that conducted the study. I've been married a long time, and I told my wife, this is a long time ago, I told my wife, she was having a problem, and I gave her some advice, and she ignored me because I'm married to her. And the next day, she was watching Oprah, and it was the same topic, and Oprah gave the same advice I did. And she said, that Oprah is so smart, right? So Michael can tell you things, but sometimes a second voice can be useful. So he invited us out to have a look at the infrastructure of the city. So I apologize in advance for the technical nature of this, but it deals with infrastructure, and there's no way to make it less technical or sexy or anything like that. So I'm just going to jump into it. If you have questions during this, feel free to bring them up during that slide. Okay, so we looked at all the infrastructure in the city from a very high level, from a 10,000 foot level. So we're going to cover water and wastewater in section 1, and then the other infrastructure in phase 2. All right, so on the water side, right, we're producing water We're providing water to the residents and to the businesses, and then after they use that water, then it goes over to the wastewater system, right? So on the wastewater system, you have your wastewater system, you have north and south, right? And I just put an umbrella term over the infrastructure out here. Some of it is in great shape, an A. Some of it is in poor shape, as a D, a C. Some of it's in F shape, right? So as you think about that. And so we're highlighting the things that we saw that are standing out, right? And so I'm not going to read each of these bullets to you, but you've got some challenges in your wastewater north plant with your headworks, with your valves. So your valves open and close and allow processes to run, right? You have piping, metal surfaces, concrete bases. All of these things are deteriorating, right? So think about having a automobile. Let's say you have an F-150, and you've had it for 20 years. You change the oil on it. You change the windshield wipers, right? You change the battery when it goes out. Even though you're maintaining that vehicle, it's still, in this example, 20 years old. So you got a 20-year-old frame. You got 20-year-old wiring, right? You got parts within the motor that are 20-year-old. They all have a life expectancy. So even though you're doing maintenance, the city staff does a great job of maintaining these things, but they're getting old. And so you can see some of the challenges with the north plant, right? Then on the south plant, right? So the first three items on the north plant, we have those same issues on the south plant. That's the headworks, the valves, and the deterioration, the piping, the metal surfaces, and the concrete due to aging in the environment, right? So you see all of those, right? And then there's some challenges with the aerobic blowers and the clarifiers. So let me explain what that means. When the waste water comes into the wastewater plant, right, we have non-organics. You got plastic bags and diapers and tree limbs and things like that. All that stuff we pull out. Everything that is left is the organics. And so you use bacteria to eat the organics, to consume it, right? But bacteria works off of oxygen, and it's an aerobic process. So you're pumping oxygen into the wastewater and letting the bugs, that's what we call them, the bugs, eat that stuff away as much as possible. So you have to put air into the system to give the bacteria the oxygen they need to do that, right? And so that oxygen system you have on the south plant is not working correctly. And the staff is doing absolutely the best that they can. I give the staff a grade A for working with the equipment they have. The equipment is just aging out. Clarifiers, all right, so when we have that water in the wastewater treatment plant, clarifiers, what we're doing is we're separating the water from the solids, okay? And you want the water, the solids, and the grease all separated. That's not happening with your clarifiers. So there's some challenges there. You get chemicals, people using chemicals, or you putting chemicals in the water like chlorine, right? So you have some challenges there, right? And all of this is run by motors and pumps and valves. All of that is aging. And if you lose electricity, so this weekend they're telling us significant storms are coming, right? If we have another outage of electricity in Texas like we had, several years ago, right? Will your generators operate and run those plants, right? Your generators are 18, 19 years old now, right? So there's some challenges there that are not related to maintenance by the staff. It's just related to the age of the equipment, okay? Next, domestic water. All right, so domestic water is, we've got similar problems. We have valves not working. So if we can't open and close valves, then the processes don't work, right? Your waste ponds, when you have a wastewater treatment plant, you have, after you've gotten everything separated and the bugs have eaten as much of the organic, you're left with some stuff that's left over, right? And so we're going to get rid of that, right? And so again, what do we do with that? That's the waste ponds, right? Generator, not large enough to operate, right? Motor control system, number 4. All of this is controlled by electronics. Think about a motor control system as like a fancy computer that operates all of the systems, opens valves, closes valves, turns on motors, turns off motors, all of that, right? That motor control system is old. And as it ages out, it's like an old computer. You can't get a part for it. Or you're buying a used part. Or you're waiting some time to get a part. And everything in it is aging, and then it stops working. And then you run into problems, right? And then your concrete tank, you think concrete lasts forever. It does not. It does deteriorate. It just takes 75 years, right? But you're seeing that cracks, potential leaks within the concrete in the older systems, okay? Lake Finley, no surprise here. I'm sure everyone here is aware that it's low. One of the things that Michael brought up to us is like, hey, can we dig it down, right? I mean, it's man-made, right? Can we increase the capacity, right? If there's a failure there, there's a problem within the city because now you're not getting water to the residents and to the businesses, okay? So the pumping valves, the piping, all of that is near end of life. Okay? All right, and same with that motor control system there. All right, so that's water and wastewater. Questions on that? It was pretty fast. But y'all have the presentation. You can go back and look at the technical pieces. But if we gave it a grade, right, it's going to be a D, maybe a C minus for most of that. Okay, so it's working. You just don't know how long. You will be addressing this sooner rather than later, because it's closer to the end.
Yeah, and also, and there's repairs constantly made to the wastewater systems, both on the north and south. And we know that we're making repairs all the time. We needed another set of eyes to give us, an idea for planning, for capital improvements, for prioritizing and budgeting. And so, you look at so on the water side, we replaced some of the headers, replaced some of the motors. We're doing all that, but not, the plant is old. Both wastewater plants are old, and so is the water plant. At Lake Finley, some of the electrical components are pretty dated, and what we've done, we've pretty much tried to keep a stack of things that we need, whether they're fuses or some of the motor controls that we need that'll fit there. But resizing that is something we talked about.
Yes.
To not have so much evaporation. It's a pretty shallow lake to be able to hold more water as a reservoir. It's actually a terminal reservoir is what it is for us. And we also are looking at the ability to bypass Lake Finley if we need to. And as you guys, Lake Corpus Christi, y'all didn't go to Lake Corpus Christi.
Not recently, but we were out there.
Right.
I was out there last November.
Okay.
Yeah, I did see, if you haven't been out there, it's a nightmare. It's just gut-wrenching how low.
It was at 10% capacity the last
Yeah.
time I talked to one of the council members. That was in
Yeah,
November.
it was at 10%.
And we haven't had significant rain
And
since.
as we make upgrades to the pump station on Lake Corpus Christi, we're looking at getting some variable speed drives, which means we could bypass the Lake Finley pump station as well. So part of what we're doing, there is condition problems, aging out of some of these plants, but our guys throughout the years have done a really good job keeping them up to where they are, like Rich said.
I would like to say something. We keep saying you guys are doing a great job, and it's kind of, to me, how are you basing that on? And so we go to cities all over the state, right? So just saying they're doing a good job, that's, I don't want to say an empty compliment, but let me fill it in a little bit, is that your guys, first off, are very open to working with us, which we don't always see that, okay? And then they are very concerned about things that are going on from the standpoint of they want to try to get them fixed and things like that. Every city is understaffed and under budget, so we go into every city expecting that. And as a matter of fact, the operators at both at the wastewater treatment plants and the water plant were very interested in kind of digging a little bit more about what I could help them with as far as education and as far as what their best practices could be. So, not only do we see, the concern and the ability to desire to work with somebody, but also the desire to improve. So I wanted to kind of fill in why we're saying what we're saying about your staff. Appreciate that.
On the criteria, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
So, for example, like the grading A to F, whatever, and you say we have a D or a C plus. I guess what evaluation did you do to allow us to get that grading? The fact that it's working or barely hanging on?
So the,
How did you come to that conclusion?
so he's using it as, he's an engineer, right? Has a ton of experience. So he's evaluating that from like, okay, what does it look like new? How does it operate new? Right? What's the condition of it now? How old is it? How's it operating? Is everything working? Like, no, everything's not working. The plants are still operating, but we see serious deterioration, even though the plant continues to operate. And so he's given it an assessment, and it's not a hard and fast, like, check thing, like, you've
Yeah,
got,
I get it.
you got 6 out of 10 right. It's not that. It's just his professional assessment of the overall operating condition. You want to add to that?
Yeah, you kind of covered it. So as an engineer, it's different than looking at a school grade, right? So you take a test, you get 4 out of 5 right, you got an 80, right? Well, it doesn't work exactly like that in infrastructure, because if one part fails, it's an F, right? So you have to look at the collective of what's going on with the entire systems. You have stuff that's A's. You have stuff that honestly, D minus best, I mean, all over, you have all the way, but when you collectively put them all together,
Right, and
what kind of score are you going to give them? I might give you a D plus, C. I mean, y'all aren't tremendous, the average in the entire country, and Texas follows pretty much that same average of the entire country. The EPA's done this for their entire infrastructure. And across the state, across the country, water, C minus, D, wastewater is a D plus. Okay, so y'all, saying y'all are
or average.
where you are at, well, I mean, that's not necessarily a good thing, right?
I'm-
You don't want to be there, but so I'm, but to your point, right, of being average is, would we still, you're still passing, right? Kind of thing, right? So, but the point, my point is that y'all have a brand new RO plant, so obviously that's not, bringing your score down. It's it's other stuff, right, that could fail. And so what I'm looking at is, you go back to that truck scenario, is that truck in good enough shape to take a 1,000-mile trip, or would I be very concerned about taking a 1,000-mile trip? And that's kind of the idea of how you want to score the systems.
So
And also,
C minus, what is a lifespan of a C minus or a D plus?
Well, that's a good way of thinking about it, right? And so what I'm basically saying is F is not working, right? And then as you go up, you might be a D plus. So, if nobody was making any improvements at all, which is not the case with you guys, right? But if nobody was, I mean, you're looking at a failure within 24 months, say, somewhere around there.
Okay.
Obviously we don't have crystal ball. And
No, of course,
all
yeah,
that,
I'm just trying to get an assessment on the
Yeah,
components.
right.
Yeah. Okay.
So every 5 years, the American Society of Civil Engineers puts out an infrastructure report. The most recent one was last year, 2025. Texas, so they evaluate the water and wastewater systems of all the municipalities in Texas. And they go out and then they give overall a grade using the A through F, right? Texas wastewater systems was downgraded from 2020 to 2025 to a D minus, right, statewide. Now, obviously, some are better, some are worse.
Yeah.
But the point being is, and Boo said this early on, we go to cities all around, and we've been doing this a long time. Every single city I've ever talked to has infrastructure challenges. And most of them know what the challenges are. They may not know the extent, they just know they have challenges, and nobody has enough money to fix everything, right? And Alice, unfortunately, is not really any different. They have some infrastructure challenge. Nothing's on the point of failure today, I wouldn't think, but it is something that I wouldn't think this council is going to be able to kick it 10 years down the road to a future council.
Right.
It's something that, and I'll give you an analogy later on that'll jump into that. Did that?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay, so let's talk about the other infrastructure, right? So now we're talking about the buildings, the trucks, right? Your trash and utility equipment, right, is very old, right? 25 of them are over 15 years old. And I love Boo's question, like, if you had a 15-year-old vehicle with 300,000 miles on it, would you trust your family in that to take a road trip to California? Maybe not, right? Okay, so there's a lot of time spent servicing and repairing these old vehicles. A lot of outside repairs are happening, right? So these are going to have a shorter expected life going forward before they're going to need to be replaced than maybe some of the things in the water and wastewater system, okay? The recycling center, it's old, it's damaged due to weather and the environment. There's not a lot of usage out there, and Michael was telling us you're doing trash pickup twice a week. Well, that is costly. Perhaps maybe doing pickup once a week using a recycling bin could save the city some money, be more efficient, but that's a separate cost or separate discussion, right? And then there's a cost to haul that recycling over to Corpus Christi. So that's what's going on in the recycling center. The library's got a bunch of issues. We've got humidity and condensation is a constant problem, and we have books. And when condensation means the air's wet, what happens to paper when it gets wet, right? So that's the challenge that's damaging the books, right? Electrical and plumbing need to be evaluated further. We've got water ponding, which is, it rains there at the entrance. You got a pond of water that shows up. We've got water runoff, right, is limiting door access to the roofs. Electrical outlets are going to, needed for service areas. So there's some just general age of that building. Police department, it's also very old. About 30% of it's been remodeled, but the infrastructure, the bones of the building, the lighting, the air conditioning, the ducting, all of that is original, right? So the space doesn't really fit the need for the police department. It needs to be remodeled, and walls need to be moved, and that's just to make it more serviceable for them. But in terms of providing a controlled environment and a controlled temperature, right, there's some challenges there. So the mechanical, electrical, and plumbing all needs to be further evaluated because they're just not in great shape, right? I asked Boo how he would grade the police department. He'd say, give the building an F, maybe a D minus. So it's in rough shape, okay? Animal control, similar. Environmental damage, plumbing issues. The domestic water to the kennels is not working. There's no hot water. You can't enclose large animals. The goat enclosure is not usable. The cages are rusting. The large dog enclosure doesn't keep the dogs in. So there's some real challenges there. It's just from age. It's just it's out in the environment and it's just aging out. All right. Fire department, right? All three of your fire stations need upgrades. There's roof leaks. There's equipment that's needed. There's security upgrades that are needed. Backup power is needed. Hoses are needed, right? So significant challenges there. There's no real provision in those for women's quarters, right? So that would be a repurposing within the building. And fire hydrants need to be tested. You don't want to wait till there's a fire to determine figure out that a fire hydrant doesn't work. What was the city? What was it?
Sid, Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Had a fire, it would have burned three blocks.
Burned 3 blocks,
Yeah.
and they found that the fire truck went to fill up, and this, there was some wind. They tried to blame it on wind, but now it's up to the lawyers and attorneys and judge to figure out what actually cost $3 to burn, but it doesn't look too extra for them not to have a fire hydrant.
So,
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
sorry to interrupt.
Yes, ma'am.
So the fire hydrants that we have throughout our city need to be tested, or they haven't been tested?
Yes.
I mean, Patrick, don't we test these?
Should be the
used
job
to.
of the fire department.
So the water department does that.
Okay.
And it's been some time.
It's been some time
When did
since.
that start happening?
We had this conversation the other day. and-
Sorry, I just was curious.
Yeah, excellent. We had this conversation the other day with the city. Like, okay, do you want to test your fire hydrants? You should, but do you also want an outside party to test them?
Okay.
So that if there is a malfunction, they're like, hey, it's third party who has no, economic incentive to lie. said they tested these 3 months ago and they were fine. They were within.
And we did talk to our, when we were having negotiations with the fire department, we did talk about the testing, and they were
About having them.
gonna work on a program to get that together also.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes,
so
we
it, yeah,
We used to code them and stuff. Yeah.
But you're flying an airplane, it's hard to build the airplane while you're flying it. I think that was your example that we had a conversation. Your city staff, right, is busy running a city.
Right.
It's hard to do big projects. Like if you're living in your house, it's hard for you to remodel your house while you're living in it. It's really tough. You could do it, but it's like really hard, right? That's the same example that we would use here, right? So much of this, the staff is doing everything they can, but these are bigger things that they can't do, right? So our summary, right? Significant infrastructure challenges, no surprise there, an aging water system, aging wastewater, aging buildings, right? And is it going to fail tomorrow? Probably not. Is it going to fail sooner rather than later? Absolutely. Will this council need to address this sooner rather than later? Right. I'll give you, in addition to this, I've been a duly licensed investment advisor for about 15 years. So I talk to a lot of people about money. And I'm going to use an analogy. I met a retired military guy. Retired out of the military after 25 years, had a small pension. And when I met with him, he and his wife could not live off of that little pension. Because it's half of the pay that he was making when he was on active duty. He had a rental house, and he had just gotten his real estate license and was going to sell real estate in order to make ends meet. When I sat down and looked at his finances, he and his wife had 18 credit cards, all of them maxed out. So every month he was making the minimum payments, right? And I asked him, I'm like, if you pass away, what happens to the pension? He said, well, I wasn't married when I retired, so when I die, the pension goes away. So the wife doesn't work, you got all these bills, all this debt, and you're one heartbeat away from her being completely bankrupt with no source of income, and you don't have life insurance, and you have no plan to get out of debt, and you have no guarantee that any of you're one problem away from complete bankruptcy, right? Okay, is Alice one problem away from bankruptcy? No, but the point is, a lot of this stuff has, just through age, has gotten us to where we are today, but there's time to fix it. And the time to address that would be now, rather than wait till something happens and then you're trying to play catch up and being reactive, which becomes very expensive and makes the newspaper, and not in a good way. All right. So what we suggest, most cities will do a comprehensive infrastructure plan, improvement plan, a CIP, right? But typically those are 5 years. We suggest, because of the longevity of your infrastructure, that you look at a strategic long-range plan, 10 to 20 years. The best city management and city councils that I've met are looking at 10 and 20-year timeframes, putting plans together, right? And so that would adjust that. We can start putting money aside to do these things. We can, say we're going to do this year, and this in 3 years, and this in 5 years, but some sort of plan comes together in order to address those things, right? By proactively addressing those things, you present a catastrophe from happening because of an act of nature, a hurricane or a freeze or something like that, that sets off a chain reaction of events that are not happy for anybody, right? And so you come up with that strategic plan. That's what we do. We would help you do that, and then figure out the funding for that. How do you do that? And the end result is cities that are better prepared to face future needs, better infrastructure, better services, which makes you more attractive economically and socially to both residents and businesses. You have better public safety, more resilience in times of emergency. It's a more livable and sustainable and equitable community for everyone. And that's what I do. I come in and do these kinds of projects, right? We have done this for about 400 government entities in Texas. We've done about $600 million worth of these kinds of projects. This is the stuff that we do on a daily basis as a company. Okay? All right, and I'm going to stop there and open it up for any questions, any discussion.
Council, Mr. Medina?
I think this is a great presentation. And,
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, we definitely need a 1-year plan and a 5-year and all the way through. So, this is a good breakdown, so appreciate everything you guys have done.
So if this is something that the council decided they'd want to address and wanted to do it with us, what we would do next would be, we'd call it an investment grade audit. Right, so I said we took a 10,000 look, we're going to take a 10-foot look. Right, and that'll take several months. And from that, and working with Michael and his staff, then we rank order. And I'd come back to the council and say, listen, this is the highest priority, like this is the piece that's most critical that probably needs to be replaced sooner rather than later. And then next, and then next, and next. And so you rank order that. And so now you have a plan going forward, like here's our strategic plan so that we move from a C- to an A as much as possible, as long as funding allows us to do that. Okay.
Mr. Molina?
You actually answered my question about how you were going to prioritize the findings. So basically, y'all just put this report together for Michael, correct? Okay.
Yeah, so once, now that we have the RO system almost up and complete, we're running half of it already. Wait on that second well to come in. Our idea is we know that we'll be able to make upgrades to our surface water plant. Now, the RO plant does use part of the surface water plant on the high pressure pumps and then on the clear wells in that end. But a lot of the, let's just say 65% of the inside and 100% of the outside, except for the wells, the clear wells, that's all independent of the RO system. So, we've got 3 trains, and we were talking about upgrading one of those at a time, taking 2 offline, working off one, and start upgrading. And those kind of the timing of it was that portion of it, and that's what led us into a lot more of this to look at some of the other things that we're doing. But really, we want to build a capital improvement plan over time. But and they are pointing out some of the things that need a lot of work, but there's a lot of things that don't. So
Agreed.
we've been keeping up with what we need to on the emergency side, on the critical side, and but there's still more to be done, and it needs to be planned out and phased in.
You made a comment earlier. You said the best city managers or management or words to that effect, follow this particular plan.
And councils, he said.
And council.
Right.
But
Yeah, put that in there.
Yeah.
Okay, so like, how do you define what you just said there, like as far as the best or whatever,
So, you know how a honeybee just goes around all the flowers? I go around all the cities, right? And I talk to city managers, I talk to city leadership, I talk to council members, and I ask them, what are you doing on infrastructure? And Leon Valley, a woman named Crystal, city manager there, been working for the city, 20 years, and recently took the role as city manager. And she said, where were you 4 years ago, Rich? It was 4 years ago when she took over city manager, they didn't have any long-term plan whatsoever. And she said, she talked to every department, engaged some outside people, and put together a 10-year plan, right, to manage that infrastructure. She said, I've been putting $100,000 a year aside for police vehicles, and I'm doing this for our computers, and I'm doing this. Like, she just had all of that infrastructure. She knew what she had, and she had a plan and replacement for that, and then was setting money aside. We're asking for these grants, we're putting this in the budget, we're doing this. And it was just of all the people that I've met, of all the city managers I've met, and let's say there's been 100 of them that I've worked with over the years, let's say. She was the poster child in my mind of everyone I've ever met for how she had strategically planned, and she just did it on her own. And she's like, if you'd have been here 4 years ago, because that's what we do, we put the plans together and then we execute and help by, actually doing the work. She said, I would have shortened that process if I could have engaged with you, but I didn't know you back then. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, I just thought it was kind of odd, not odd, but I just wondered how you arrived at that, because we want to be the best and we want to plan. Because we don't have a lot of nickels to rub together sometimes.
Agreed.
And that's been our biggest kind of deal. But no, you answered it.
Mr. Molina, the biggest challenge, every city I go to, and I mentioned this earlier, I have not met with a single city, including Leon Valley, that didn't have infrastructure needs. They just don't have enough money to fix everything right now. So our task is, how do we fix this? What's the correct order so you get the most value for the money? And are there innovative ways to fund these things in order that we don't just have to try and pass a bond every single time? So we look at the money side, we look at the strategic planning side, and also the execution side in terms of doing the actual work.
And you said the turnaround on that I guess priority list would be how many months? You said?
Usually an investment grade audit will take 3 to 4 months for a city
Okay.
this size.
So like all the D minuses start off first, and we kind of run.
Correct.
Okay.
Well, but it also depends, where they are, because it's, whether they're critical or non-critical.
Correct.
Prioritize.
That's where we've been doing that on the water authority side too. On the water and wastewater, we do that quite a bit on what's critical, what's not, on how to prioritize capital improvements. The water authority does do the improvements of the water plant, and Lake Finley and Lake Corpus Christi. So, this would involve them as well.
Okay.
And so, yeah.
Yeah, up the road at City of Divine, there's 2 lift stations. So, your city's not perfectly flat, right? And so your wastewater treatment plant is here. Some houses of business will be at a lower elevation. So we're going to pump that waste to the plant. You got to pick it up, pump it, right? So they have 2 lift stations that are 50-plus years old. If either of them fail, they don't have a functioning wastewater system for half the city. That would be critical. So we're working on a plan, right? That's number 1 priority as part of the investment grade audit. Like, hey, you got to fix this first. It is functioning, but it's beyond its expected life.
Okay. I appreciate
And
that.
on that, and they haven't gone that close into that, but we just replaced 1 lift station as well.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's the kind of detail that the staff needs to bring to council to make informed decisions. And you have to do that engineering and that level of study in order so that you guys can make the best decisions for the city.
Yeah, 'cause looking at it just for face value is kind of alarming, right? Just come and sit down and you say, well, what do you mean D minus? So,
Yeah.
okay, well, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I just had one more last quick question. It's probably for Patrick. It's on the same measures. What does that fire hydrant testing entail? How long does it take? What is it?
So there's a couple different ways to do it, but it's a process. You'd use multiple hydrants to do a 2-hydrant test. It's time consuming. It does take staff, it does take equipment, and it does take water availability too, because we're flowing a lot of water. And so sometimes we're restricted by, here lately with the drought, we don't want to throw a lot of water out and in the middle of when we're telling people they can't water their grass, and we're sitting here dumping water out on the side of a road.
Okay.
So there's some restrictions with that, and it is time consuming. It's pulling staff to be able to go do that it is time consuming. So it's a process. Years and years ago, probably back maybe 2014, 2012, they'd started a process. I wasn't the chief at the time, but they had started a process of trying to get them tested. And the plan at the time just didn't work. And then we ran into some drought. And so it kind of just stopped and hasn't been picked up since then. But it is something I know the city manager and I have discussed along with our public works department, trying to come up with a plan to be able to pick that back up.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
One more question, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Molina. Mrs. Bowen?
Did I hear another question? Yes, ma'am.
She's going down the line.
I go down the,
No, they pretty much asked the questions that I was thinking of too, and especially about the fire hydrants. I thought for sure we were already doing that process, because like you said, the water, we have it releasing, and I know that there's some that was overgrown with grass and stuff like that where, I questioned. This is something that I know I can't speak for everybody, but throughout our meetings, we've always discussed something of this sort of doing some kind of a study on our infrastructure. I've been to these facilities several times throughout the decades, being where I work now, where I still work, and seeing the work that was done previously and with engineering and all that. But of course, everything, gets old, and that's where we're at right now. And I think this is great, and I appreciate your time and effort on this, and you too, Michael, on bringing this information to us. And I'm looking forward to either sitting down one-on-one and just, letting you know what my thoughts are, where priorities that I see too. And I know that you look into our suggestions and stuff like that. It's just stuff that I've seen throughout the years that I want to bring forward, if you don't mind. Definitely do not want to hear that we are a rate F or D minus, you know, we need to bring that back up and,
But remember, that's
yeah. It's not like
hard.
school.
That's something they're just looking at.
No, I understand
On
that.
this, it's not like
Yeah.
it's an opinion there.
Yes, I understand that, but we don't want to,
I would
yeah,
rate
we
it- I
don't
think
want to
we're
say
higher
that.
than that.
I think so too. I do too. But, you know, my councilman here, you know, had some really great questions that I was thinking in the back of my head as well, and I appreciate those, bringing those forward. But that's about it. I mean, I know that, we'll, you know, I'm eager to keep looking at this stuff and getting somewhere and finding a solution. So, thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Mr. Garza?
Where to start, huh?
Right? No kidding. Yeah, no joke there. No, I do have a bunch of questions, but I think I'm going to get with you on most of them.
Yeah.
Just because I need to iron out the kind of question I'm going to ask you. I do appreciate your business coming in, giving us the bird's eye view on things. That is very needed. I like that we're being proactive to get these things fixed up. One question I did have real quick. You had mentioned that your company actually assists in finding finances. Now, is that like through loans, or is that through grants, or a mixture of the two?
Mixture of the two.
Mixture of the two.
Yeah, so we mostly use Texas Local Code 302, right, which is something called performance contracting. It also enables design build construction process. And so with performance contracting, we can often find energy savings. I'll use a simple example. Imagine I would go to a city. Heck, I'll use Beeville because I did this for Beeville, right? What, 6 years ago? About 6 years ago. We go to Beeville and their buildings, their city hall's old, needs to be remodeled, the police station's old, right? All the stuff you've heard. So we went in and we replaced all of the old air conditioning. It was 12 years of age and older. We replaced it. We put in all new LED lighting. We replaced the thermostats, right, and made all of the buildings more efficient, right? That improvement in efficiency reduced the city's energy consumption to the tune of like $10 million over a 15-year period. I mean, this is a significant amount of energy savings. And so Texas, the state of Texas says, hey, Mr. Garza, if you can reduce, if you're budgeting $1 million a month for electricity, and you do energy improvements, and now your electricity bill is only $800,000 a month, you have $200,000 a month that was in your budget that you're now no longer spending on electricity. So you can do something called transfer spending. You could take that $200,000 and use it to pay for the equipment that gave you the energy savings. And so we did $5 million worth of work for Beeville fixing the buildings, but we generated $10 million in savings over the expected life of that equipment.
And I understand that, but that's not a grant or a loan.
That particular one, yeah, they did a dollar buyout lease on that particular one, and then used the energy savings to pay for the equipment they put in the building. Then we put in water meters. So they had old water meters that were really inaccurate. Okay, and
know that feeling.
Michael's already done this, right?
Yeah.
So put the old water meters, replace old water meters that are inaccurate, so people are getting free water, which that's not what the business we're in, right? Put in accurate meters, and now we're billing everyone accurately, and all of a sudden you see this bump in your revenue, right? So now the revenue goes up $1 million a year.
Unless the company you're contract with goes bankrupt and you're back at ground zero.
Well, you still have the water meter. Like if you buy a Ford and you have the Ford and Ford goes bankrupt, you still have the Ford and it still runs, right? So they got the water meters, right? So it's producing the revenue, and then they were paid for the water meters and $20 million or $15 million on their wastewater treatment plant from the additional revenue. That kind of funding mechanism, we look at all of those things that are available in order so you don't have to raise taxes or
Yes.
perhaps not pass a general obligation bond.
Actually, I do want to address your concern. You can get these projects bonded to where that, over the entire life of that process, that would be guaranteed by a third party. So there is ways around that issue.
And that's really the last thing I'd want to do. I don't want to raise taxes or anything like that. We can do what we can with what we've got.
Right.
So we evaluate, to be fair, we're going to evaluate energy savings opportunities, anything where we can save the city money and do the same work or better, but for a lower cost. And we're going to look at, following American Water Works Association guidelines, how does the city compare against those guidelines in terms of what you charge for your water and wastewater? Is it all the guidelines enough to sustain the infrastructure? About half of cities in Texas don't charge enough to be able to maintain their existing system. They're undercharging, and so they're not generating enough revenue to be able to fix the problems that inevitably happen as things age out. So we look at all of those things. Excellent question. Thank you.
No, I appreciate you. I appreciate all the work you're doing.
Yes,
And
sir.
again, I'll definitely keep in contact.
Okay.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, Michael has my contact information.
I just want to add a little something. I know that this is something that we've been, for a long time, Mr. Esparza has been focusing on to bring to council and trying to figure it, because unfortunately, through no fault of our city manager, he's now faced with this that needs to be acted on. So the one thing, when we're looking at these energy saving things, whatever it is, energy efficiency, when we say it's over a 15-year, a 20-year, a 30-year, whatever that is, I want to also make sure, keep in mind, when we're doing those type of things, the savings is for 15 years. Well, then now we're going to have to replace that equipment or that,
Correct.
so I want to make sure it's a true cost analysis where it is a true savings to the community, to our taxpayers. Because, sometimes we get into these things and we hear these things, but we want to make sure we're making the best decision for our community and our taxpayers.
Yeah, and great point, ma'am. Unfortunately, there's been some in my industry that have overpromised and underdelivered, and they have suggested, increased revenue or savings, energy savings that weren't realized. And then the cities are like, well, how do we make the payment? We didn't get the revenue, or we didn't get the savings, and now we have problems, right?
Right.
So there's some guardrails within the legislation about how long we can do this. You can't finance it for longer than the expected life of the equipment, but really your engineering company that's doing this should err on the side of being very conservative, so that if it doesn't quite achieve the revenue because people got all conservative and stopped using as much water, and so it lowers the revenue, you don't run into financial issues. That's
And-
part of the calculation.
And I do want to just, for people that are going to view this and hear these things, I just want to say that the City of Alice and our staff and our city manager have been very proactive in trying to find grants. We were given that $6.9 million that we did improvements to our infrastructure, our streets. We had a $750,000 grant that was also given, awarded to us, that we did improvements to one of our streets, and we moved lines to the front. So there's things that I just want everyone to know that we've been working really hard with under constraints, economical constraints, with like everyone. But I want to thank our staff and our city employees for what they do every single day. And then, council for the policies they put in place and just making an educated, I just want them to know we're really working out there and trying to look for these type of grants to help us along.
And we weren't being overly gracious with the staff. We've been to cities, we go look at their equipment and like, you guys haven't done any maintenance on this at all in 10 years. I mean, I don't know what the staff is doing, but they ain't, just basic maintenance they're not doing. That is not the case here at all. Dimitri and his guys have, from everything we saw, they're doing everything they can with what they have.
It's
very
mainly
sincere.
aging
Yeah,
equipment and aging infrastructure, and
Right.
is mainly,
Right.
Yeah.
Doing what they can with what they have, but you
Right.
can't stop things from getting old.
Thank you.
Right.
exactly.
And
And-
as my dad always said,
and-
getting old ain't for citizens.
And nobody wants to, see that, oh my God, we have all these things that we need to do, and then you start thinking about how we're gonna finance it and how we're gonna get it done and prioritizing. I mean, it's a lot, to think about, but it's not something that's not doable. You know, I really feel that, you know, if you take it in stages and steps, it can get done.
I'll make a little pitch. Can I have 1 minute, please?
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So I was meeting with the city manager this morning, and she said, my engineers are telling me to do these improvements in the city. Okay. So the engineers don't do the work. They just make a recommendation because the state doesn't allow them to do that work under a typical process. So then she goes and gets a general contractor and they do the work, right? None of the stuff that we're talking about, the engineers are reactive. In the perfect world, you guys would engage with us in a professional services agreement, and we would be your company for life for all of the infrastructure, all this stuff that we've talked about, so that I'm here doing the first project and the next one and the next one, and you have that continuity of my company doing this again and again and again. We've done this kind of work for school districts all around Texas, and some of those school districts, we're on project 5 or 7, right? We've done this 15 years with some of these school districts. That's our ideal with a city, is that it's a partnership. So I don't just come in and do a project. I am your project general contractor, design build guy that comes in and engineers and designs and installs for a long period of time.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you both for your time.
Okay. Moving to our consent agenda, agenda number 5. All consent agenda items are considered to be routine by the city council and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items unless a member of the governing body so requests, and in which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda and voted on separately. 5.1, discuss, consider, and act upon approval of city council minutes for December 2nd, 2025 city council meeting. And then 5.2 is delivery of City of Alice comprehensive annual financial report for the fiscal year ending September 30th, 2024. Mr. Esparza, do you have anything on, to mention on
5.2.
5.2?
No, we just got the
Delivered it, so we haven't run copies yet.
Okay, I was
Okay.
going to ask where that.
All right. Okay, so council, if there's no objections to the consent agenda items, I'll entertain a motion at this time.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Okay, we have a first and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Thank you, council. Agenda item number 6, individual consideration. 6.1, discuss, consider, and act upon adopting a resolution, A, authorizing city manager to sign and submit grant application 5742901 titled Operation Lone Star Fiscal Year 2027 to the Office of the Governor, Public Safety Office, Homeland Security Grants Division for funds available for the fiscal year 2027 Operation Lone Star OLS grant program for overtime costs for the increased patrol and for fire/EMS equipment. B, designating the city manager as the city's authorized official. C, authorizing the city manager to apply for, accept, reject, alter, or terminate a grant on behalf of the city. And D, providing assurance that in the event of loss or misuse of the Office of Grant Funds, that the city will return all funds to the Office of the Governor.
Mayor and council, once again, this is just simply a resolution that we're seeking. We still don't have the monetary amount or how much money we're going to be looking for this year for the grant, but it's coming up. So we're looking at our overtime and any other equipment that we may need. So we're just asking for the resolution. That way we could proceed with a new grant for 2026.
27, okay.
Or 27.
Yes. Okay. Council, any questions? Mr. Beltran?
I'm done.
Mr. Molina?
No, I'm good.
Mrs. Bowen?
No, thank you.
Mr. Garza?
No, ma'am, thank you.
Okay. So if there's no further discussion or any questions in reference to this agenda item, I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor, I make a motion to approve, adopt the resolution as stated on Agenda 6.1.
Okay, we have a first and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Thank you, council. Thank you, chief. 6.2, discuss, consider, and act upon approving a preliminary plat of Creekside subdivision being 74.58 acres out of lots 1, 4, and 5, block UNG Collins, a map of which is recorded and transcribed map records, page 72, map records of Jim Wells County, Texas, and volume A, page 72, map records of Jim Wells County, Texas, and set 74.58 acres being comprised of a portion of a call 71.54 or 5, sorry, I'm having trouble because I can't see. I didn't bring my cheaters. Acre tract of land described in warranty deed with vendor's lien from G. Phil Berryman to Alfredo, is it supposed to be Alfredo or Alredo? Alfredo G. Benavides and Ronald A. Benavides, recorded in block number 364806, volume 899, pages 256 to 262, deed records of Jim Wells County, Texas, a called 3.038 acre tract of land described in deed without warranty from Julie Diana Berryman, Philip Brian Berryman, and Julie Diana Berryman as trustee of the Joshua D. Berryman Trust, and Julie Diane Berryman as trustees of the Abigail E. Berryman Trust to Berryman Family, Ltd., recorded in instrument number 497667, official public records of Jim Wells County, Texas, and a call 36.16 acre tract of land described in a warranty deed from Alfredo G. Benavides and Ronald A. Benavides to Elanco Properties LLC, recorded in document number 424411, deed records of Jim Wells County, Texas.
That was a lot.
Yeah.
Mayor and council, what you have before you is a proposed development of approximately 351 homes or residential lots on the city's southeast corner. This project was presented, and I believe shortly they'll put up a map on the screens. This project was presented before Planning and Zoning. Planning and Zoning did recommend unanimously approving the preliminary plat. So there are some comments, and I believe that's in your packet. There is an image or some documents, so you can see there's the pictures of what we're looking at doing, or what this project is being proposed as. This takes months of review and communication between the property owners and developers and our city staff. And so I do have our city engineer, or contract engineer here today to kind of explain a little bit more what he looked at and what his recommendations were. He made the same presentation to Planning and Zoning. And again, Planning and Zoning did recommend unanimously to approve the preliminary plat. There are different phases. It is broken up into phases, so you'll see that there's phases 1 through, I believe, 6. They're not doing them all at the same time, and we do have the developers here to explain to you the timeline on what that looks like. So some of the questions and some of the issues that were addressed by our engineer are addressed when we come for the final plats. So just keep in mind there's a difference between a preliminary plat and a final plat. And I'll let Mr. Joe Trejo, our engineer, explain more on that.
And while he's talking about that, you see Unit 1 on your packet, and you see the dash line that it encompasses. That'll be come before you guys later for a final plan. That's where they're going to start.
Hi.
Hello.
Welcome.
How are you? Thank you, Mayor and Council. Yes, it's quite an ambitious development here for Alice. Again, this is a preliminary plat showing the entire development, and they'll come in on the final plat with portions. The first portion will be there by Sandstone in that area. Those streets develop the lots there. and they'll explain their first portion. But as your engineer, I have to look at the entire project and, of course, be sure that everything is infrastructure and drainage and things like that are covered. And so I always, whenever I work for cities, I look at their codes, their subdivision codes, and to be sure that the requirements are met. I'm a licensed engineer, I know what's required. I've been a city engineer, so I kind of follow, what's best for the public, safety, health, safety, and welfare. And my recommendations to you all is for their future, when they submit additional information, it indicate all requirements for streets, sidewalks, lighting, drainage, water and sewage. Also, all their plans and specs, of course, have to be sealed by a licensed engineer, and they'll be working with that. They have a licensed engineer. I said the preliminary plan only shows exhibits and layouts. It's not an engineering plan. It's a concept of what's coming. The preliminary plan information did not clearly indicate the engineering surveyor seal or disclosure state engineer regulations for platting the property. They needed to have either a seal on their plat or a disclosure of that it was preliminary. And we discussed that already during the preliminary plat discussion with P&Z, and they'll be providing that also. Provide location and flow existing drainage courses delineation clearly in the plat of flood zones defined by the Corps of Engineers and FEMA. The plat does indicate that portions of this is Zone X, Zone A, Zone AE floodway. It is not clear on the plat the boundaries. They show some boundaries along Zenone. There's another Lattice Creek area where there's a bigger zone area, AE floodway, and this area, of course, since it's such a large area, does carry a lot of drainage now naturally. So again, we'll discuss that, and as part of the next paragraph, recommend that we require a sealed engineering report for the development of all utilities, calculations for water piping, pressure, capacities, looping, fire protection, sewer collection, topography, storm drainage to prevent flooding, FEMA compliance, geotechnical lab report for site construction requirements, all necessary for project improvements. And we've discussed these also with them, and we will be complying. They have asked for some variances. It's a little different development that they're proposing to try to get as many lots in and try to reduce costs and try to help on affordability. So they've asked, our normal street is 31 feet back to back. They've asked to narrow it to 28 feet. So we have 28 foot back to back, to subtract 2 feet on each side for the curves. You have 24 feet of street left. So you have 2 lanes, 12 feet left over. So it shaves it a little bit there. They want to narrow the lots from 50 to 45, again, increase density. They show, instead of the normal sidewalks on both sides, they just want to improve them on one side. But again, they have to meet the ADA Act, the Disabilities Act of continuity and conveyance. So they'll have to have that approved. They want to reduce the front yard setback from 25 feet to 15 feet. Again, it's part of getting more room in there for improvements and more housing. And also the side yard. They did have a street A that parallels the creek there that didn't show any curb and gutter, and ditch is kind of like a county road section, and I disapprove of that. It's not allowed. This is a subdivision. It's curbs, gutter, that type of thing. Right. They looked at it and they made an error, and that will be corrected.
Okay.
Whenever they develop that portion of the subdivision. So again, it'll be in sections, so it'll take a little time. They also wanted to reduce the requirement for the limestone base from 9 inches to 8 inches. That's what's required in your all's code. Again, part of the compliance needs to be a geotechnical lab report. They'll look at all that, and I can review that, make a determination on that. Our standard curb in the newer subdivisions is called a 6-inch L. And a lot of newer subdivisions are going to a 4-inch roll. And this helps in the development of, a lot of times they have to break the curb to do the driveways. And with a 4-inch roll, you can kind of just roll over it. So we don't have any problem with that. But if you all choose to go with that variance. On the entrance to Stonegate, there's an existing Stonegate that dead ends right now. They want to narrow it to smaller width, 20-foot wide. Again, if you subtract 4 feet for the curb, that leaves you 16 feet of paved area, which is too narrow for a two-way. You're left with 8-foot lanes. And they were intended that to be a one-way leaving the subdivision. And that coupled with the exit to the north to Lawrence Street, we're going to have future discussions on that on future portions of this development. It will not be developed in that area now, so we're leaving that one as, for preliminary, it's fine, but we're going to bring that back and look at considerations of how to improve that. I'd recommend that Stonegate be 28 feet, our standard. But our standard section 31, they want to go with 28, but it'll be tight, but they'll make it. And obviously with all this, when it's all developed, now there's going to be major impacts to that area, cobblestone and sandstone and all those streets, Nepal. There'll be a lot of traffic impact information. Impacts for traffic. And that's why they developed it as they did in the entrance and trying to minimize the impact to the neighborhood. And again, as development occurs, we can be monitoring that. The portion that they call Unit 6 south of Zanone, it doesn't have a street connection to the west. The plat shows future connection. To the south, didn't realize this, but there's a platted, Old County right-of-way, unimproved. So it kind of has a connection, but there's no way for the lots, if they were improved, for the egress and ingress. You couldn't get out, there's no streets. So whenever that portion gets developed, of course, we'll have discussions, and hopefully we'll figure that one out also. I'm pretty sure we'll come to some resolution with that. But I want to note that for you. On the north side there by Street A again, it connects to Lawrence, and it's a pretty tight alleyway. And they're showing it as a future connection to that Street A. Again, whenever that area develops, we can look at that closer. Right now, it looks like it'd be a tough little connection there. And again, we have to have all our work that they do comply with our city ordinances, subdivision codes, and of course TCEQ requirements for pressures and sanitation and everything they require to have a correct working subdivision. And so I present those for your consideration. And again, the developers here and his engineers here, you have additional questions. I'd be glad to answer any questions you may have.
Okay.
It's a nice new development for the city of Alice. Kind of exciting to have something like this be proposed.
We're excited about it. Mr. Beltran, you have a question? Any questions?
Just in the variances,
Yeah.
I do have some concerns. One for the road,
Narrow.
for emergency vehicles.
Yeah.
I love the plan, though. It's a great plan. It's very ambitious, like you said. I hope it can be done. I know that every inch saves money, every foot. I just think that there's some that maybe are not worth, the emergency, the effects it'll have. Those are my concerns.
On the road width, the 2831?
Yeah,
Patrick.
Patrick. I had the same question.
Yeah, these specs, so 28 is what Corpus uses on their new subdivisions, on some of them, not all of them. But they do allow 28-foot road back to back. For us, our firefighters are pretty good drivers, I think. They'd be able to get into those. And I don't know, Mr. Brazelton, if you want to talk about some of that on what you do over.
And then the other issue we have is people parking on the road. They're big trucks.
Yep.
I don't know how big the driveways will be. They're going to be smaller. So now you have to park on the road. and emergency vehicles coming in and out. So,
Well, even where Stonegate is now, and you go through that, there's
yeah, everybody
cars.
has 5 trucks, and there's
Yes.
3 people that live at the house, you know.
Yeah.
So,
So I'll address it on the emergency side. Obviously, the wider the street, the better. It's always going to be better, right? If you asked me, there are streets currently in our city that are smaller than this already, and we deal with them. It's not preferred. Like I said, I prefer to have the widest street possible, right? So there is room for error, but as city manager said, we have some pretty good drivers. I have a lot of faith in my drivers. So, but I'll let Mr. Brazelton he does these developments in other communities, other cities, and so he's got some experience in that. I'll let him take over for it.
Okay.
thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Honorable Mayor and council members, hello, I'm Bart Brazelton, Brazelton Development. We've been developing and building homes in the South Texas area for over 50 years. Somehow my dad did it before I got to show up, but Mom and Dad got along pretty well without me. It's family-run business. My grandfather started in the 40s, and we have been in the construction business ever since. We've had the opportunity to work in your beautiful city in the past and look forward to this opportunity. To address some of the questions and, again, some great concerns, the standards that we used here are standards we use in several other cities, not only Corpus Christi, as well as Portland, Port Aransas. Aransas Pass is another city we're working in right now. So the same standards of road width and sidewalks and that sort of thing. To address your concern about lot width, we're blessed to get to work with D.R. Horton, the largest home builder in the United States. And they're very excited about coming to Alice, Texas. About 5 years ago, they came to my dad and I and purchased our home building operation. And we have had a great opportunity to learn from them, to learn on a national basis what we were used to is on a local basis, local builder guys. We were very blessed. We're the largest builder in south of San Antonio. And when they came in, we had a great education, I would say. And what this neighborhood, this subdivision, and I'll mention that subdivision and neighborhood difference in a moment, is a model that we use in many of the other cities we're working in. From Rockport, we help do some development in Rockport, all the way around and back over, back into Corpus. So it is one of their standard footprints, so to speak. The 35, they call them the X35s, it's a great series, it's a great home, a great series of homes that fit on the 45-foot lots. It is much more uniform than, let's say, some of the other neighborhoods that we have where you have a custom home every other street or every other house. Right. But it is very efficient and will be able to bring a price point of home to Alice that I don't think is here right now. In addition, one of the things Horton is able to bring, D.R. Horton's able to bring, is the helpfulness in getting the closing costs and the mortgage into a position that allows a home buyer that previously couldn't buy to get into a new home. So these are all, and I wanted to address your question on driveways. Yes, sir, it is a challenge. When everybody drives an F-250, I have an F-150, so they fit in the garage. Mine fit in the garage. So my wife makes sure of that. There are always challenges to that effect, but these are all two-car garage homes with two driveway spots, meaning that if you do have 4 cars, you can keep them all off the road, which is preferred. Right. We hope it's more like 2 cars and people put their stuff in their house and not in their garage so they can park the cars in the garage. That's always the preference. But I also wanted to point, and to your point, sir, the councilman, the driveways are 16 feet wide, and they have flares at the end. Well, we wouldn't need flares because of the unique curb detail we've asked to be able to use. So you'll have the driveways will be 30 feet between each driveway. If you will go all garages to the same side. So if not, you've got a much wider gap. So I wanted to be sure to address that. I'd like to point out a couple of other features of the neighborhood, and of course make myself available to you. Also, I have Mark Hudson, our engineer, here. Mark is with Lynn Engineering. They've done a great deal of business in South Texas as well, a very good firm, have done a lot of business for us. Just a couple things. To Mr. Trejo's point, we did have a very good extensive meeting with Mr. Trejo a couple of times, and some of the rest of your city staff. And just so you know, we're used to bringing in the construction drawings or the construction plans with the final plat. So when we bring you the final plat, you'll have all the details stamped by Mark. As Mr. Trejo pointed out, from street light to water flow to grading, everything will be available to you. And one of the things it wanted to make clear, we're requesting 20-foot front yards. The 15-foot are on the Colda loops, which are the pie-shaped lots. You actually have more than that. You'll see it when you place a house on it, but it'll give you a deeper driveway. Also, the flood zones, as Mr. Trejo pointed out, we're working on, and we think it's Zenon Creek. Is that the right? Did we spell it right?
Yes.
Okay, we were thinking that was it.
Yeah.
Zenon is not, the flood plain is not defined as far as we can find so far. Now, Lattice is completely defined, and we were able to work right up to it. Mark has already reached out to LJA that I think Coin Rimmet did it. The ditch that feeds into Zenon just before this, just before the project area is, and only a developer can say this, it's a beautiful ditch. You guys have a beautiful ditch. And it clearly should have been, or it appears to have been engineered. And so we may be able, by the time we visit with you again, to tell you that we have that resolved, that's been resolved already. If not, what we've done is allow additional space so that Zenon Creek can be made wider. Part of that reason is perhaps it could be less deep, and which would kind of feed into the other thing that I wanted to point out on the neighborhood. And then I'll come back to that about Zenon, but I wanted to point out also traffic. Traffic is a question in every neighborhood we've ever built. And Mark here can give you some more specific information. But the way the neighborhood is designed, Nopal actually has five different roads that come off Texas Boulevard. So, plus alleys. So the roads are overly sized for the amount of impact, even for 350 lots as we develop them over time. There's plenty of road access, plenty of sizing. Nepal's a good sized street. And so I think any more specific engineer questions, he can answer much better than I can in terms of the number of traffic per street. He'll tell you. I just know, my question is, do we have a bunch of traffic? Because my wife will get mad at me. And finally, back to Zenon Creek. What I hope to point out to you is the Creekside Project, as we've called it, because of the great opportunity to have two creeks coming together. We're likely leaning to the trails at Creekside. And I wanted to point out to you that green space area that is on the angle, you can kind of see that it leads from Unit 2 all the way down and around to Lattice Creek. And then it's hard to see on this, but all the way back down Zenon Creek to Nopal, we want to build a trail system within the neighborhood, separate from the sidewalk, ergo the one-side sidewalk. We want to build that because the number one feature asked for in any neighborhood is a walking trail. It's not the swimming pool anymore. It's not, thank God, it's not the golf course anymore. It is for people to get outside and enjoy themselves. So this would be a landscaped area that people could walk internal to the neighborhood, and then along Xenon Creek. We hope we can get, again, a nice creek bed that would be sufficient open space where kids could actually use it as a play area if it's long and flat enough. That's what we're working on. So I just wanted to point that out. That is our goal. We would come in. It would likely need to have an HOA for the maintenance of that. But we really, I know I've done my job when one of our neighborhoods in Corpus Christi is called Rancho Vista. And I know I've done my job when I'm driving to check jobs in Rancho Vista and one of our customers is pushing the stroller down the parkway and got the little one on the bike with the training wheels behind her, and they're going to the playground. That's when I feel like we've done our job. And we build subdivisions, but people live in neighborhoods. And we want this to be a neighborhood. So I'm happy to answer any questions I have. Mark's here if you'd like to ask questions as well.
Mr. Molina? I'm sorry, Mr.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay.
I have no questions. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for coming and explaining everything. We're honored to be here. Yes, sir. Honored to have you.
Mrs. Bowen?
No questions. Thank you very much for your time on this.
Mr. Garza?
Thank you for choosing Alice for your development. Thank you.
Thank you. This has been a fantastic city to get to work with.
Oh, awesome.
We've enjoyed working with Mr. Esparza. And your leading citizen here that we've gotten the opportunity to work with on the land. Is he smiling back there? Okay, good. Smile. We have had a great time. Every question answered. I wish that every city we get to work in was like Alice, Texas. So thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank y'all.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hey, guys.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, so if there's no further, no further discussion or questions in reference to this preliminary plot, agenda item 6.2, I'll entertain a motion on it.
Mayor, I make a motion to approve the preliminary plat as stated.
I'll second.
Okay. We have a first and a second. Mr. Lemon, is that sufficient, just the way it was stated?
That's fine to me, Mayor.
Okay, thank you.
Provide the preliminary plat that's just been presented, that you have a motion and a second, so.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, any opposed? The motion passes. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. We're looking forward to it. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, council. Moving on to agenda item 6.3. Discuss, consider, and act upon entering into and approving a memorandum of understanding between Alice Police Officers Association and the City of Alice.
Oh, Chief.
Your turn.
Chief and Lieutenant.
So it's an MOU, once again, members of this council and mayor, it's an MOU, and I'll let Lieutenant Sines, since he's the president of the association, to talk a little bit about it.
Hi.
Hi.
I mean, we've done these in the past before. I think this is the third or fourth one we've done. And Mr. Lemon and I had a discussion about it. It's just an addition to a contract that'll expire once this contract expires. We're agreeing to allow some of the articles that we put in place in our contract to be changed until the termination of the contract. Just for it terminates in September. So that's all it is. And currently, I don't remember what I wrote, but it should be in your packets. It's just one article. We changed, added some verbiage to it till the termination.
Council, any questions? Mr. Beltran? Mr. Molina?
Thank you, Lieutenant Sines. Appreciate it.
Mrs. Bowen?
John, y'all found everything in order?
Yeah, it's something that they talked about quite a bit. It allows what's called a lateral hire. I think that's what it put in the agreement. If you have somebody that's had so many years' experience, regardless of their age, you can go ahead and bring them in. And that's something that, you know, that I know that several chiefs in the association has talked about, but this is actually the first time they've done anything about it. And so that's really what it does, and I don't think they're gonna have any problems. They both talked to me about it, said they both understand it, think it's a good idea, and so I think we need to formalize it.
Good, thank you.
John.
Mr. Garza?
Sounds good, thank you.
All right. So if we don't have any further discussion or questions in reference to this agenda item, I will entertain a motion.
May I make a motion to enter into and approve a memorandum of understanding between the Alice Police Officers Association and the City of Alice, as stated in agenda item 6.3. Is that okay?
Okay, we have a first and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Thank you. Thank you, council.
Thank you, boys.
6.4, discuss, consider, and act upon the reappointment of Denise Strait, Daniel Haygood, and Bruce Hurd as commissioners to the City of Alice Firefighters and Police Officers Civil Service Commission.
Mayor and councils, the commissioners are the appointment of the city manager with approval with the city council. And we made contact with all three commissioners there are willing to serve continuing on there, and they've done a really good job for us. So we request that you guys reappoint them.
How many years is their term?
It's they were staggered. We got them all together, weren't they? And so is 2-year terms?
2-year terms?
So we recertify.
Recertified. Yeah,
Every year? Oh, okay, gotcha.
To keep them.
Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Beltran, any questions? Mr. Molina?
I'm good, thank you.
Mr. Garza?
No, ma'am, no, thank you.
Okay, if there's no further discussion or any questions in reference to this agenda item, I'll entertain a motion.
May I make a motion to reappoint, the reappointment of Denise Strait, Daniel Haygood, and Bruce Hurd as commissioners to the City of Alice Firefighters and Police Officers Civil Service Commission.
Second.
Okay, we have a first and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Thank you, council. 6.5, discuss, consider, and act upon reviewing committee's recommendation to hire a general contractor for City Hall repairs and authorizing city manager to negotiate a contract with the selected contracting company. Aye.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Council. I come to you today with this agenda item. We went out for bids for City Hall repairs, and that's the roof and the ductwork and the flooring. So we posted in the Corpus Christi Caller Times first on the October 24th, 2025, and October 31st. Bids were due on December 18th by 2 p.m. We received 2 bids. The first bid was from Gerloff Company, and the second one was from Silver Creek Contractors. In your packet, you'll see that the first bid from Gerloff Company, the base bid was $127,860.29. And then they also added a couple of additional bids onto that base bid. So one of the things that we did ask for in the RFP was we wanted a bid for the carpet tiles, because that is what we have currently, but we also wanted to look at another option for commercial flooring. So we did ask them to give us kind of what the difference would be in that, and if we fell under still what TML is giving us to do these repairs. So what we're looking at was for the additional, for the flooring, they said that they would do a commercial vinyl, and so that was an additional $13,850. Another addition that they did add on was we had asked, because on first floor we do have the water department, and we didn't want to have to close any days. So we did ask for after hours or on the weekends to be able to conduct that work because there was some flooding down there. And so they did add an additional $15,107.15. And so the next contractor is Silver Creek Contractors. Their base bid was $127,000. So this included $119,500 for the repairs and labor, and then they did add a $7,500 for asbestos test, which I did talk to TML, and they would cover that flat out for that $7,500. So that doesn't come out of the bid that they did give. So TML would give that to us, and that was for the carpet. And so their additional bid, which was with vinyl flooring or commercial grade flooring, did come out to $136,500, and they also did not include an additional bid for any after hours or on the weekends. That is already included in their bid. Another thing I'd like to bring up is that on the flooring, it was cut off at a certain point of where it was flooded. So like on this floor, it stops around this area and the rest remains the same. And so TML did say that we could do all 3 floors. And so we did ask for how much it would be for both Gerloff and Silver Creek. So Gerloff did not give us that bid yet. That would be after we talk and see, okay, what are those additional square footage and what are we looking at? Whereas Silver Creek just went ahead and said, let's just do all 3 floors, and we won't, that's already within our bid. So we gathered a committee with city staff, did some scoring, and our recommendation is to go with Silver Creek Contractors to conduct the work.
Okay. Council, Mr. Beltran, any questions?
What was the time frame on this project? Can you give one?
So right now, TML, we do have to conduct this work by May of this year. One of the things that we did receive also from Silver Creek was that they could get this done in 3 months. So they would start right away once we went to negotiations and looking at everything in the scope of work. Whereas Gerloff did not give us a time frame. And so it was kind of like, okay, well, we need to get this done by May. So that's kind of where we're at right now. So as soon as, once we come to you, get that recommendation, get it approved, then we can start work once city manager conducts a contract with them.
So it has to be done by May?
Yes.
The start time or the completion?
Completion, but TML has we've been working closely with TML and a lot of different things on this project, so we can ask for an extension.
And they both have satisfied the bond, the insurance, everything?
Yes, yes. They have all their, they gave us their assets, we look at everything when it comes to going into a contract with the
And then the
contract.
Silver Creek contractor said they'll do all the floors
Yes,
for the same price?
yes.
And then the 75 will be waived?
Yes, TML will send a separate check for that, so that'll already be paid, set aside from it. And so, we've been really talking with TML and kind of asking different questions to make sure, because it is such a big project.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Mr. Molina?
And we're going back with the glue down carpet?
Just a
We've
rough-
been
Yeah.
talking.
Yeah, just a rough-
kind of-
Yeah,
I
we're
thought we were gonna.
We're going to look at options. So they did recommend to have now they have the carpet squares, because if something happens, it's easier to pull it up and repair that. Or if we want to do a more commercial grade vinyl or laminate or whatever they recommend, we could do that as well.
That's included in Silver Creek, right?
Yes, so Silver Creek did a bid of $127,000, and that's for the carpet tiles. And then they gave us $136,500 for whether we went with the flooring. And that could adjust depending on if we don't go with vinyl and we go with something else. It just depends on which one, but it won't go past that.
And was Gerloff reached out to, to ask for the time frame, or no?
Yes, so I did talk to him. So they did say it depended on if we were to get approved and when we kind of look at that time frame. They did say it just depends because they'd have to do a formal walkthrough and then also give that additional bid for all those other offices that we did have.
Got it. And with Silver Creek, he's ready to go.
Yes.
Got it. Okay. No further questions. Thank you.
Mrs. Bowen?
You said you had a scoring committee, correct?
Yes.
And were references called and checked on
Yes.
those? They were?
Yes.
Okay.
Both contractors are well qualified for it, so we were satisfied with both. It's just that committee's recommendation was to go with the Silver Creek.
Okay.
So kind of, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Do you mind if I chime in? Yeah, so in a nutshell, we're basically doing all the flooring, and all the ceiling tiles.
Yes, so we'll start with the ductwork before we do the tiles. So they'll conduct that, and then we'll replace the tiles, and then the flooring will be the next. So we'll go and we'll talk about kind of like a schedule and where we're going to start, how we're going to do it, because it is, there are a lot of things in the offices and things like that. So it's a
And then something about painting, designated interior areas.
Yes, so when we had the flood, there was some like this, these stairs right here, on the railings, it was chipped, so they will be painting that. Any places that, there are pictures that we have, and Melissa is also working with me, so she's the one that took all the pictures and did the claim for TML. So any areas that were in there, they are going to be repairing and.
Okay.
And I take it we're responsible for all the content manipulation, like where we put everything and while they do the work?
Yes. Yes, so we will also conduct meetings with city staff and, make sure that everything's in schedule and we're following what we have. It's a perfect time to get rid of anything that you have in your office, so.
Mrs. Bowen? Oh, I'm just, conflict of interest. No, I was looking to see if they had the certificate of insurance, and they're bonded.
Yes.
Okay. I didn't see that in here. But, okay.
On the first, on the front.
Okay, that'll be all. Thank you.
Mr. Garza?
Just one quick question, I suppose. The numbers that they're giving us, say for example, Silver Creek at the 136.5.
Yeah.
All of my construction experiences, we have a budget, and then there's the real price. The 136.5, is that like a set number, and if they run into any surprises, they'll swallow it, or do we end up doing that?
Contingency or something?
Yes, so the good thing is because this is through TML and they know that things come up, they know that, it may even be below or may even go up. So we do look at a lot of the times, and I know Melissa knows a little bit more than this about, for me, but they will give you a supplemental if needed. And so if something comes up, they are there to help us, and they've been really great with just us being open with them about like the bids and everything. And so we talk with Jennifer over at TML, and she'll let us know. And she did say that's why we were able to get an additional quote with the flooring, because she said a lot of different businesses are going away with carpet. So she's actually the one that recommended that we get an additional bid for that.
That's great. That's
Yes.
great. All righty then.
Did Miss Melissa did she want to say something? You're good? Okay. Great.
That sounds great. Thank you. Thank you all for your work, though.
I'm looking forward to this. So.
Yes, us too.
Okay, council, so if there's no further discussion or questions in reference to this, I'll entertain a motion and selection, or, yes, sir.
The price includes performance bond and payment bond as required by statute, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's all I needed to hear.
Okay.
Nice.
Mayor, I'll make a motion.
Let's see.
Hires. Yeah. Make a motion to hire as a general contractor for the city hall repairs and authorize city manager to negotiate a contract with the selected contracting company would be Silver Creek. That's what we're going with.
Second.
Is that good? Okay. We have a first and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Thank you, council. Thank you.
Desiree.
Thank you.
Thank you for all your work.
Okay. 6.6, presentation and discussion from Alice Fire Chief Patrick Thomas regarding statistics for the fourth quarter end of year calls for the service. Thank you.
Mayor and Council, what you have before you is the general statistics for the fire department. And what I went ahead and did is just included not just the fourth quarter, but the entire year, so you get a good view of what our call volume was like throughout the year. There was an increase, and I'm just going to go over some highlights. The reports, it's a series of reports that gives you different breakdowns for you to review at your own leisure. But just some highlights. We did have an increase in call volume this past year. The difference between EMS and fire calls that we responded to is about half. You'll see there's just last year was a little bit more on EMS side. This year was a little bit more on the fire side. So, but it's still about 50-50, give or take. There is a report in here that breaks down the difference between what was responses in the city and what were responses out in the county. And so that is for you to review at on your own time. And of course, if you have any questions on any of these reports, you're always welcome to give me a call and we can discuss them. If there's something more specific you want to see, we can find a report that will get those numbers for you. If you look on the very end of one of the very last reports, there's a breakdown of month by month. You'll notice that of the year, throughout the year, there was only 2 months that we had less calls this year than we did last year. Mm-hmm. So every month there was an increase in calls, and so it kind of slowly crept up to where at the end of the year we did have an increase total. But I think June and July were the only months that we had less calls last year than we did this year. So, but other than that, I don't have anything else for you.
Council, any questions? Mr. Beltran?
Thank you, Patrick. Thank you, guys.
Mr. Molina?
No, appreciate it. Thank you, Chief.
Mrs. Bowen?
Thank you for these reports. They're really in detail, and I like that. Thank you.
Mr. Garza?
Thank you very much for your reports. And I guess on a personal note, if I could say, I want to take my hat off and thank all of your firefighters. Last night, my neighbor had a fire around 4 o'clock in the morning. Mm-hmm. They did lose their garage, but the house was saved. And there were 4 trucks out there, 2 I couldn't count the amount of firefighters, the way that they ran in there, they took care of everything. The hours that they stayed afterwards to make sure there were no hot spots and everything, it's a scary thing to wake up in the middle of the night and see fires that are 20 feet high. And but it's comforting to know that when those trucks show up and those men and women show up, they took a duty or a pledge to their duty, and you can see the love in the work that they do. So thank you on behalf of my neighbor and everybody else who's had to go through such a horrible event, but at least we can sleep knowing that you guys are there to help. So thanks again.
Yes, sir. So, and I thank you for bringing that fire up. One of the things I do want to show you in these reports, you'll notice that I did give you a breakdown of how many times we've helped other cities and how many times other cities have helped us. Mm-hmm. And so what you'll see is that has doubled. And then there's a number from last year and a number from this year, and that number has doubled on both sides. Mm-hmm. It's still about a 50-50. I think there was 3 times. I think we helped another city 3 times more than what the other cities came and helped us, but that did increase the working together with other cities. And so I just wanted to highlight that as something that we are working very closely on and using other fire departments to help us when we have big fires, and then we're in turn helping them when they have their big fires. Thank you.
And real quick, Patrick, what is a good intent call?
A good intent call can mean anything from, basically it's a catch-all. If it doesn't fit in any of the other categories,
Okay.
if it's just something that couldn't code it, couldn't find anywhere else to code it, that's where it gets coded.
Oh, I see you have animal rescue, animal problems other. I guess you had a couple of those.
Sometimes there's cats in trees, cats in drain systems. We even rescued a skunk out of a dumpster. It was stuck in the head was stuck in the hole of a dumpster. So all animals matter, and we're gonna do what we can for all of them. So yeah, it's general. There's different kinds of animal issues that we.
I just brought that up because the firemen, even like our PD, you go beyond, to serve our community, and I appreciate each and every one of you.
It's fun to watch the team effort between both the police and fire. You'll see them out there coming up with solutions for problems that are thrown before us, and so
I've seen
all their
y'all-
heads will get put together to solve
I've
a problem.
seen y'all in action at Walgreens one time. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Okay.
I remember one time I was on the
Yeah.
firefighting team, we got called.
So 6.7, here discuss and act upon presentation concerning staffing, operations, intergovernmental cooperation, equipment usage, procurement, and crime arrest prosecution data of the Alice Police Department. Welcome, Chief.
Mayor, members of this council, thank you for having me here today. A lot of what we've been doing is a phenomenal job, not because I'm here, but the job that the officers have done. A lot of times we take for granted the role they play in our community. And for example, we honored Officers for Life Saving, and for us, it's just an everyday job. But when you look at it closely, it's the work they do is really, really phenomenal. And so my hat goes off to them. But I'd like to share some stats with you. There's another one, Hector. That's the one for the Versaterm. There's another one that I sent to you. Yes, they came today. The one with the stats of burglaries and...
The burglary of the habitat being down 38%?
Yeah. Do you have that one?
They're looking for it right now. Chief, while we're waiting for that, I just want to commend all your officers because I know they've gone to scenes that have been difficult, and I appreciate what you as their leader, as their what you've done for them too with their support system and stuff. So thank you for all that y'all have done.
Oh, thank you, ma'am. I mean, we take every incident and we look at the severity. And one of the things that, whether it's a dispatcher, whether it's an officer, and if we always come in and talk to them. If we need some type of therapy, we always send them. We take that extra step, even though they may say, I'm good, but it may not affect you today. It may affect you tomorrow. So that's something that we offer, and sometimes we make it mandatory that they go. So it's always important and imperative that we follow. But what we do out there on the streets, because I'm grateful for all that they do. So if you recall, and I'll get started with this because I don't want to keep you. If you recall, back in I think a year ago, we started with Versaterm, which was Spider Tech, and so what we wanted to do was to ask the community when we go to calls, how can we help you? How is my job performance? How are we doing as police officers? I want your feedback. And so what we did, we found Spider Tech. So what they do, we receive the call. Naturally, they called the dispatch, and once they receive the call, right away dispatch, and it's automatic because it's in the system, sends them a text message advising them an officer's en route and gives them an ETA of how long it'll take that officer to en route. And it also gives them the name of the officers that are en route, so they know who's going to show up at their front door. So after the incident has occurred and once the officer leaves, then they can do a survey. And that survey grades the officers and it grades us as a police department, how we're doing, right? And so it's important for me. So that's the first step. So this is, in February, we're going to add a different element to it. And so we're going to keep adding, but this is just our first one that we've added. Hold on.
Uh-oh, these batteries.
Okay. Let me see. It's okay. So on Versaterm, it's I do you have the paper?
Here, Chief.
Okay. Thank you.
Got it.
Thank you so much.
Okay, but that changed to the this resolution.
Yeah.
There we go.
There you go.
Okay, so we're looking at crime stats. Let me go back to crime stats. I apologize, my fault. So as we look at the Alice Police Department and where we started 5 years ago, and it's important that we remember this because it's important for me and my department. So when we look at the NIBRS data from 2021 through 2025, this measures all the incidents that have been coming into our city, incidents like thefts, burglaries, assaults, right? And these are the totals. So in 2021, we received 2,105 incident reports that went out to the state of Texas, right? They have a database, and all this data that we do goes out to the state of Texas. If you notice, through the years, it's decreased. In 2022, it's 2035. In 2023 is 1,598. In 2024, 1,512. And in 2025, 1,163. That's a decrease by 45% in 5 years. It's a phenomenal job that the officers have done. Now, I was trying to talk to our community and some people, and they said, well, maybe they're just not reporting them. No, I really think it's the crime that we are seeing has really gone down, and I'm going to show you the numbers of why I see. So when we look at burglary habitation, it's a crime. These are crime sites, and if you go back to 2010, 2015, at one point we were hitting 271 home burglaries in a year. Okay, in 2024 we had 45, which is phenomenal. In 2025 we finished with 28. So the number through the years, if you look at 2010, had 181, in 2015 was 132, and then 2020 was 69. And as you've seen, it's decreased through the years. That's burglary habitation. That's someone breaking into your home. Burglary of a building. In 2024, we had 71. In 2025, we had 51. That was a reduction of 28, or a decrease of 28%. If you go to 2010, it was 144, 2015, 118, and 2020, 103. And every year we've continued to bring those numbers down even more within our city. Burglary of a vehicle, someone breaking into your vehicle. In 2024, we had 106. In 2025, we had 58. But look at the numbers in 2010, 2015, and 2020. You had 271 in 2010. In 2015, 143, and then 2020, 185. So this year we finished at 58. Great numbers. Unauthorized use, somebody stealing your car. We had 33 in 2024, and in 25 we had 24. That was a decrease of 27%. Numbers through the years, again, 2010, 39. 2015, we had a low of 28. Went back up in 2020 to 49. And so this year it finished at 24. So they've done a great job, and we've also recovered. Go back to the burglary of a vehicle. Out of the 58, if you recall, it was a few months ago, we had 22 in almost one night. Yeah. And so we recovered, and we solved each and every one, all 22. Mm-hmm. But so that makes up the 58. Right? That's in the 58. So that was a great job by the officers. Just on grants alone, so on 2026, what do we look forward to? The Lone Star Grant Program, we're looking forward to that, which you all approved to proceed with. Project Safe Neighborhood Grant, that one we're going to ask for some overtime monies, which you'll have a resolution coming. Violence Against Women, Justice and Training, we do have a position there. We're going to reapply for that, and we're also going to apply for clerk. because we need a clerk to help us in putting our cases together. We also have the STEP grant, as you know, through the state of Texas. And so that's something. Some of the projects, the Versiterm, the Spider Tech, which I hope to discuss with you here shortly, the Alice Police Department. So we do want a website, one of our own websites. We feel it's imperative and it's important. That way it gives people the opportunity, if they want to file a report, they can file it online. We don't have to send an officer to your home. Let's say, for example, you have a child custody case and all you need is a report. You can do it online. You don't have to go to the police department. At Bell's, let's say sometimes they have thefts that...
Statistics.
You said that you can go online and make a police report online if you have an issue, but then the problem is the reason why they do the call out is for the witness, the police officer, and the trainer.
So there's different things that we could do online. So other cities do it, and so we want to follow in that same footprint. The radio system, hopefully we'll get it going in the next 2 months. And so that's going to cost us about $500,000. And then we have our tracks system that we hope to have in place. It's for vehicles, PP&E, assets, supplies. So it'll be able to, officers will be able to do all the inventory of all the equipment that they have. We'll have a full inventory, which we do now, but everything will be in a system. So they get in their vehicle also, they'll have a problem with their vehicle. For example, they're having a problem with a radiator. They make a ticket. It'll go to Roel, right, who's in charge of all the vehicles. So he'll get a text. He knows he's got to take that car to get fixed. Once we take the car to get fixed, it'll show you it went to Abrigos, for instance, or the shop, how much it's going to take for the repairs. And so we'll have all of that ready. And that's a yearly cost of $2,300 for all our vehicles. And so that's something that we're also looking at. And that's all I got. On the Versiterm, were you able to get the Versiterm? If not, that's okay. But I'd like to share the Versiterm and for you to, when you have a chance to take a look at it. So it's a good project. It's something we worked hard on.
I think he's looking at the slides.
Hey, Chief, I was going to ask you on the stats, like habitat of a home.
Yes, sir.
Do you find that it's the same people, or is it always somebody different?
So it's a little bit of both, right? Sometimes we get new people. For the most part, it's the same over and over. But we also have burglary habitation. For example, you have a boyfriend, girlfriend that have lived together. They've moved on from one another. The house, so he's not supposed to be there, or she's not supposed to be there, and they go into that. That's a burglary, right? You go in without their consent. That's a burglary habitation. So we've seen quite a few of those here in town. So out of the 58, we've probably seen maybe 10, 12 of those. So we do have those. But most of the time, it's the same people that are committing these burglaries. And that makes it easier for us to catch them. Yeah. We know who they are. Yeah. And their MO and what they're doing. Right. Yes, sir. So just real quick on the Versiterm. So this is what we're going to see. So we just went live last week with Versiterm. So once again, reporting, they do the survey. So we've sent out 497 messages to our community. 18.7% have responded back. The normal average is what they're telling us is 16%. So we're 2 points above. So we're doing a really good job. Or the community is of responding, right? And so I know it's a little small, but if you look at it, each one is what people are writing back. Right? People are writing back. Officers were very informative and helpful. I feel safer after they visit. When calling 911, we have to talk to two different persons to get to, and so that's something that I call them and I explain to them why you have to talk to two people, especially on an EMS call. Was that the only charge that he got with burglary after he hit me? Well, it was burglary of habitation with intent. So I get to explain to him why. And so it's pretty cool. Thank you for assisting in service. I didn't receive a call back. Thank you. That was okay. So I get to call that business owner and find out what happened. And so And then the finding, I did talk to this lady, she lives out in the county. So we understood that. But then last but not least, and this is what you see, would you like to rate the officer you were interacted with? And so out of, it's a 0 to 5, 5 being the top score. We got a 4.73, we're at a 4.73 right now. Would you rate your dispatch 4.65? And how satisfied are you with your department? We're at a 4.55. And then it has some of the feedback from the community on there. It's one of them, very satisfied, prompt response. Officers were very informative and helpful. Thank you for your assistance and service. And then one writes, I especially like to thank Officer Martinez for going the extra mile for us to solve the problem of the car left at our parking lot. Alice Religious. Many thanks to Officer Martinez. God bless you for your wonderful attitude. Amen. So when we're getting back these responses, it's really neat. And so I'd like to share that. And I apologize, it take me a little while, but I want to share that with you because it's important that you know what's happening.
And our officers, they deserve to know too. I mean, it does help morale and, you know.
So what we plan on doing is having a big screen on dispatch, and they'll have all of, because I get them daily. Everybody gets them daily, but they'll be able to see them up there of what they're doing.
Good.
Thank you, Chief.
I have a question for you.
Any questions?
Do you have a question?
I do have a question,
Oh,
but
okay.
I don't know if
Sorry.
you can answer it, but a while back, you and Patrick were working on the ticket system for the codes department. They were going to create a new system for them to write tickets.
I'm sorry, ma'am, I was
You're looking at
distracted.
John?
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead again. What was it?
A while back, you and Patrick were working with Ruben on a ticket system
Correct.
for the codes department. What's the status on that?
It's ready. So they've already completed.
Oh.
So we're just waiting for, I don't know what I'll look into it, but the last I received a call was that they were ready to go with it.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
good, thank you. I didn't hear about it.
No,
But thank
yes.
you, I'm
Thank you
glad.
for asking.
Yes,
I had
thank
a
you.
real quick question.
Yes, sir.
I'm so
That's
sorry.
okay. UUMB, what does it stand for? I know it's,
Unauthorized use of motor vehicle,
okay, got it.
when they steal they take your car without your consent.
Auto theft or something like that?
Yes,
The
sir.
15-year-old took your car?
We don't call it that in Texas.
No?
Unauthorized use.
Wow, okay.
Huh.
Takes my truck.
That's unfortunate that you have to count those statistics of like the bad breakups where people are kind of doing something.
We
like
do,
that.
but it is what it is, right?
Right, but I mean, it's kind of
Put an
misleading, right, when we see
Put an
that number.
asterisk on that. Yeah.
I was looking at that, I guess what is that, NIBRS, what does that stand for?
So national, I know it's National Reporting System.
That's okay, I know it's
That's,
a
at
big
one
tally.
point with the FBI, now it's the state of Texas through DPS. So that's how they rate your how much crime, when you go in, how crime analysis or
Right.
what's my crime in my neighborhood, and they give you the NIBRS statistics.
Okay.
That's where they get them from, and that's where it's derived from.
Okay.
So we've seen a big decrease, which is the National Incident Based Reporting System, it's what it's
Got
called.
it. I have to write it down too.
Yes, sir.
But I was gonna say, normally we get your reports and they're awesome, they're formal, I mean, you go above and beyond. And usually, we become complacent and we just look at a number and say, well, that's what it is, behavior patterns don't change, whatever. But I noticed from 2021 where we had, I guess the NIBRS data, had 2105 and then now it was like 1163, almost cut in half, right, 5 years.
Yes, sir.
And how long you been with us?
5 years.
Ah, that's funny. Anyways, now I just wanted to point that out. And then another thing, I know John kind of shut you down there with the whole online.
That's okay, sir.
But,
Yeah.
Here's
it's all right.
Here's the reality of that, is that the reason why they're calling is to make the report. They want the witness that's out there. That in a family law custody case, I know that everybody in here can say that people are going to lie, right? And so if we're just relying upon a computer entry thing, it defeats the purpose of having law enforcement involved. Now, we don't necessarily want law enforcement involved in civil standbys and things like that, but there are situations where you have the potentiality of hostility developing during the exchange of a child. And so, but I'll talk to the chief.
No, and it goes further into that. It's not just a report, right? But
I'll talk to the chief about
no, we'll talk.
And I was just bringing that up because is there any way to streamline, or will we ever get to that point where we get these not crash, but like these accident reports, these police reports, like from accidents, a little more timely, like as far as, because, from an insurance standpoint,
Of course.
a lot of insurance companies can't do anything because we don't have a police report, and sometimes, man, it takes an embarrassing amount of time. And they'll call me, and I'm like, I'm kind of on city council, I'm like, hey, it's just the way it works, but I'm just asking you, I know we're talking about online access and how things are kind of, if things are kind of evolving. Will we ever get to that point, Chief, where things are, like, the turnaround is like?
Yes and no.
Got it.
And let me tell you the yes. The yes part is we have to finish our reports before we go home. Our reports are done before the officer goes home. Now, if it's a major case on as far as an accident, like a major accident, maybe fatality, God forbid, or someone was seriously hurt, it may take us a couple of days. But we usually give them 10 days, working days. Now, just because we finished and completed, that doesn't mean that we can give it to the individual, because now it's got to be approved by TxDOT. Now they have to approve it. Once they approve it, and then it comes back to us with the approval.
And what's the timeline that takes it up?
It just varies. Sometimes maybe 6 days, 5 days,
Wow.
7 days.
That's the holdup. It's not on our end then.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So it's a process.
I'm talking
but-
about a little fender bender, exchange information, and then, okay, well, one person's, liable, and then we just, sometimes insurance companies want to get the other side of it, and then some people are like, well, we want to place liability, but we need a police report, even though,
Yes, sir.
the facts of the case are such. So I was just curious. I was just asking about that.
So if you do notice, when there is an accident, in a minor accident, we do give them the to exchange information. So I give you my insurance, and the officer makes sure of that. That way you can report it to your insurance, and then they'll call us for, and that way it just speeds up the process, and you have that information.
Right.
So, but other than that, I'll look at a way that maybe there is something that I haven't looked at, and I promise you I'll do that on how we could expedite this process.
Okay, just curious.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Chief.
No, thank you.
That's all I had.
Thank you all.
Thank you, guys.
6.8, discuss, consider, and act upon adopting a resolution, A, authorizing city manager to sign and submit grant application number 5742601, titled Project Safe Neighborhoods Grant Program Fiscal Year 27, to the Office of the Governor, Public Safety Office, Criminal Justice Division, for funds available for the Alice Police Department. B, designating the city manager as a city's authorized official. C, authorizing the city manager to apply for, accept, reject, alter, or terminate a grant on behalf of the city. And C, providing assurance that in the event of loss or misuse of the grant funds, that the city will return all funds to the Office of the Governor, Public Safety Office, and Criminal Justice Division.
Once again, this is just a resolution that we're seeking, and this is for the grant for the Project Safe Neighborhood, and I think we're asking for $40,000 on this for overtime. So it's just simply a resolution. We may add more to it, but it's just the process and getting started with the resolution.
Okay. Council, any questions?
I'm good.
I'm good.
Mrs. Bowen?
No, thank you.
Mr. Garza?
Good, thank you.
Okay. All right. If there's no other discussion or questions in reference to this agenda item, I'll entertain a motion.
May I make a motion to adopt the resolution stated in 6.8, as stated in 6.8 agenda item?
Second.
We have a first and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, council. Thank you, chief.
Thank you, Chief.
6.9. Discuss, consider, and act upon adopting a resolution, A, authorizing the city manager to sign and submit grant application number 5742801, titled Violence Against Women, Justice and Training Program, fiscal year 2027, to the Office of the Governor, Public Safety Office, Criminal Justice Division, for funds available for the program year 2027 for the Alice Police Department. B, committing the required 30% cash match. C, designating the city manager as a city's authorized official. D, authorizing the city manager to apply for, accept, reject, alter, and terminate a grant on behalf of the city. And C, providing assurance in the event of loss or misuse of grant funds. The city will return all funds to the Office of the Governor, Public Safety Office, Criminal Justice Division.
So once again, thank you. So this is twofold. This is two grants that we're looking at, just simply a resolution. One is for an investigator that we currently have to renew that contract or to renew that grant, and the second is for a clerk. But that one requires 30%, so we're going to look at it to see where we can get the 30% from. If we don't have it, then we won't go for it. But we do want to pursue it and try. And before we do that, we always sit with our city manager and go over it and see what's best for our city, and if we have the monies.
Okay. Council, any questions? Mr. Beltran?
I'm good.
Mr. Molina?
I'm good, thank you.
Mrs. Bowen? Thank you. Mr. Garza?
Sounds great, thank you.
All right, so if we have no further discussion or questions in reference to this agenda item, I'll entertain a motion at this time.
Mayor, I make a motion to adopt the resolution stated in 6.9 for the Violence Against Women Justice and Training Program, fiscal year 2027.
Second.
Okay, we have a first and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Thank you, council. Thank you, chief.
You can reach me by phone. I'll be gone all week. I'll be in Huntsville, so I'm leaving right now. So y'all have a good
Have a
evening.
safe trip. You be careful.
Bless you. Appreciate it, man.
Bye-bye. 6.9, here's status report on December 2025 month-end financial statements, summary of funds, and delivery of December 2025 check registers.
Good afternoon,
Oh,
Mayor,
I'm
Council. Good to see y'all again. It's been a while.
Hey, Gabe, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Just to let y'all know, before I get started, as we know, I'm a broken record. The first time we always do the report for the year, it's kind of daunting because you see the figures, but you got to remember sales tax, we're the third month in, we've only received 1 month. Property tax, basically, we don't have any property tax received as of December for this year. So all our expenses, they're front-loaded, so we're paying everything up front.
Yeah.
So just to give you all that before we get started, because I know you're going to be like, what's going on? But it's basically this time of year, every year. So just if you want to see on December, as of December, our general fund revenues were $1,450,936. Our property tax budget was $925,680, but at the time, we only received $18,793. Exhibit B, again, with the property tax, we haven't seen anything from the appraisal district as of December. We did get a check in January for December, but at the time of reporting, I can't list that right here. For Exhibit C, sales tax budget versus actual, this includes the month of November. And November's collection was $596,296, or $36,000 above target. Exhibit D is sales tax 2026 versus actual 2025, and we have an increase of $111,294 over previous year. Exhibit E is our expenditures. Like I mentioned, a lot of them, it has to do with the software, TML, insurance, everything. So you'll see City Council, y'all went on the one trip y'all were going to do, so it's front-loaded right there, 46% of your expense. Finance is at 26%. That's all our software and such. Same with library, their software and TML payment. And then just our last slide right here is just showing you what our funds are doing thus far in December. General fund, again, was a negative $1,922,980. Solid waste is positive $209,912. Utility fund is a negative $26,536. And the golf course fund was a positive $53,094. So we're looking good there at the golf course thus far. But again, it's short and sweet. It's just because it's December, practically 1 month into the year. Not a whole lot to report at this time. So if you have any questions on that part.
Any questions? Mr. Beltran?
I'm good, thank you.
Mr. Molina?
Thank you, Gabe. Appreciate it, buddy.
Mrs. Bowen? No, thank you. Mr. Garza?
Not at the moment,
No? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gabe. Vanessa?
Vanessa. Agenda item number 7, executive session. In accordance with Texas Government Code, Chapter 551, Subchapter D, the City Council will now recess into executive session, closed meeting to discuss the following. The City Council may enter into closed executive session to discuss the following pursuant to consultation with its attorney, Texas Government Code, and subsection 551.071. 7.1, consultation and discussion with its attorney regarding the sale of city-owned property located at 1100 Juanita and 1101 Miranda Street, Alice, Texas, Jim Wells County, Texas. 7.2, consultation and discussion with its attorney regarding lease negotiations for the multi-use facility. And, let's see, discussion about value or transfer of real property, Texas Government Code, and subsection 551.072. 7.3, consultation and discussion with its attorney regarding the sale of city-owned property located at 1100 Juanita and 1101 Miranda Street, Alice, Jim Wells, County, Texas. 7.4, consultation and discussion with its attorney regarding lease negotiations for a multi-use facility. It is 4:30 p.m. and council is now entered into executive session. We're ready? Okay. Okay, moving on to agenda item number 8, return to open session. Return to open session and take any action necessary as a result of the discussions, in preceding agenda item number 7.1 and 7.2 pursuant to Texas Government Code, consultation with its attorney, Texas Government Code, and subsection 551.071 and 7.3 and 7.4, discussions about the value or transfer of real property, Texas Government Code, and subsection 551.072. Consultation with its attorney, Texas Government Code, and subsection 551.071, 8.1, consultation and discussion with its attorney regarding the sale of city-owned property located at 1100 Juanita and 1101 Miranda Street, Alice, Texas, Joe Mills County, Texas.
Okay, Mayor, on agenda item 8.1, I make a motion to authorize city manager to order the sale of city-owned property by seal bid for the properties located at 1101 Miranda Street and 1100 Juanita Street.
Second.
Okay, so we have a first and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes.
And on 8.4, ma'am, there's no,
8.2.
No action.
Read it, okay. No action for 8.2, okay. And then I have to read 3 again, 8.3. It's like written double
So
work.
I always do it as attorney and real estate, whichever one it's gonna fall under, but.
I think we're fine.
We're fine like
Yeah, I
that.
think we called, yeah.
Do you want me to read it again or just leave it alone? We already voted on it.
Yeah, you already voted, you already read it.
Okay, all right. Then moving on to agenda item number 9, adjournment.
May I make a motion to adjourn?
Okay, we have first and second. All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? Motion passes and meeting is adjourned. It is 5:23 p.m. Thank you so much.